What is he doing?
You must be seeing that Idris Elba movie.
Oh, is that the one with the lion?
No, the one about the genie.
He knows that's the wrong kind of lamp, right?
No.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Tavern Talk. I'm Philip, and joining me this week, Kris and Melody Pistole. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it.
Happy to
We're
be
coming
here.
back, actually.
Yes.
Can you believe
We've
it's
returned.
Can you believe it's almost been a year since last night in Soho?
No, I can't.
Well, like 10 months, I guess.
Oh,
but,
man.
Yeah. Anyway,
Time
I don't want to jump the gun too early, but I would say the movie we're talking about tonight is not as mainstream.
You're going to have to be more specific.
No.
That's how we'll
Definitely
put it right
not.
now. As
It almost seems like they're actively trying to keep people from seeing this movie.
Goes along with the mood of the main character.
yeah, the box
Solitude.
office would not or would not disagree with you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But no, thank you guys for being here, for doing this. I really appreciate it.
And also, if you'd like to check out my films, you can check them out at ChristopherPistole.com. Oh, yeah, we have a
our
podcast.
podcast.
A Disney podcast, too. Check that out right here. There's a link, I'm
Can
sure.
you hear the pod tonight? You can also check out my Instagram. Thanks, same pistol. Bye-bye.
I guess kind of hinted at, we were talking about a movie called 3,000 Years of Longing this week. It is the latest from George Miller, who you may know from a wide variety of films, whether it be Babe, Pig in the City, the Mad Max films. Yes, he directed Fury Road a couple years ago at like age 70-something. He made Happy Feet. He's made the Witches of Eastwick. I don't know.
Oh, I forgot about that. Witches of Eastwick.
Hocus pocus.
Yeah.
Dr. George Miller.
Dr. George Miller. Yeah, so
He's a medical doctor, too.
If nothing else, I was excited to see this because he was directing it, and you kind of
Absolutely.
never know what you're going to get from him.
Right.
But obviously,
Wild
a bit
card.
here. Yeah, exactly. We just walked out, or just finished watching 3,000 Years of Longing. What is you guys' initial reaction to it? First thoughts?
Mixed.
Yeah.
It's a mixed bag for sure. It's hard to pinpoint. It's just
Yeah,
how
this is
I
a hard.
feel.
This is a hard movie to
Weird.
pin down for sure because it definitely feels like it dips its toe into other genres. We looked this up a second ago, and Wikipedia classifies this as a dark fantasy.
Yeah.
Dark.
I mean, I would definitely say
It's definitely like a dark tone to it. Almost.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of downbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it definitely is, and I didn't. Yeah, I guess fantasy would be the right word. I mean,
Definitely fantasy.
like the overall, I guess, short
Realism
plot
fantasy.
synopsis is the Tilda Swinton is a what was her title? A narratologist?
Yes, you got
Yeah,
it.
Is that-
good
I was
job.
gonna say I don't remember
A
story
narratologist,
person.
Yeah.
which I had never heard. I did not know that was a real thing.
That is a real thing, yeah.
A person who studies story, like. It almost seems like, I mean, I guess you could say the same is kind of true of critics, to where they like study story and get so involved in
Sure,
analyzing
sure.
story to the point that it might not be fun anymore, like over analyzing it
yeah.
to a point, because that's kind of where honestly that was where a lot of the fun came in with the conversations between her and Idris Elba.
Yeah.
It's just her like kind of pushing him on his mission and kind of making it more complicated.
Yeah.
But we're jumping ahead there because she is in Istanbul for a conference of sorts. She picks up a little token from
bottle.
her trip. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a bottle. Ends up being a genie or a djinn in there, and who is played by Idris Elba. And naturally, he wants her to make 3 wishes so that he can be set free or return to his I can't remember the
Basically,
term.
Djinn heaven.
Like a spirit
Yeah, exactly.
realm,
Spirit realm, yeah.
And we said we looked this up as well. It's based on a collection of, or a story from a collection of short stories A.S. Byatt wrote in '94 called "The Djinn and the Nightingale."
Yeah, apparently George Miller's been wanting to get this story adapted for a while.
Yeah.
So.
And honestly, kudos to him for getting this made in today's
Yeah.
cinematic landscape because
I want a movie where two people are in a hotel room and they just talk to each other for 90% of the movie.
And then I'm going to intercut like sword and sandal epic montages of people, of their stories they're telling and just kind of give it a little flavor.
It's going to be a lot of history.
Yeah.
But mostly to actors people mostly know in bathrobes. So
I was like, when is she going to take that towel off her head?
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that through the whole movie.
Because I know that feeling of your hair being wet, and I'm like, I hate that feeling. And she's had that for like, who knows how long.
Yeah, and you know the
It's on
actors.
their watch.
The actors had to be just wearing those bathrobes for days and days filming those scenes. That's all I was thinking about during the movie.
But honestly, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like the conversations in the hotel room between them, like especially in those first two acts, was kind of like. I was interested in what the stories were going to be, what he was going to tell, where they were going to go, because I was curious how his Djinn character ended up, in these certain moments in time. But yeah, I really enjoyed just sitting, listening to them kind of conversate and discuss the nature of story and everything.
I did too. It's got a really strong first act. It's got a really strong pull, and you're kind of because essentially the conflict or the premise of this is that. A woman finds a genie who can only be set free if he is grants her these three wishes, and she just happens to be a person who's completely content, who doesn't want anything, or claims at least that she doesn't.
Well, in the beginning, she talks about like science is the answer to everything, and then she like is like, oh, it's just in my imagination. But then like when the Djinn doesn't disappear, rather than be like, oh, maybe I have like a mental. She's just like, okay, I've accepted this. I'm gonna embrace if this is
right.
I know.
She doesn't question it anymore after that.
Play with that more, like because they make us believe she's got this issue where she's seeing things, and I was like, are they gonna play with more like?
And at the end, be like, and it was all just a figment.
Right? Yeah, I was wondering if it was gonna go that way as well.
I guess it's left kind of up in the air, but yeah, I guess that central conflict is there of. The whole movie I was just saying like, why don't you just wish for a sandwich? But I guess it has to be your heart's desire.
Yeah.
So really it's really sort of the struggle of trying to figure out what that is, or if that even is there for this person. And along the way we kind of get the genie's story, and this sort of is what is and how it's affecting her like throughout the movie. Which is effective, really, I think, at first. And then it kind of slows down a little bit.
Yeah.
It really does. Because I, like, the first scene where they're at the conference, and then through, like we said, while she's in the hotel room in Istanbul and everything, I was like, oh, this is great. Because, like, we'll talk about the visuals, but, like, those really add to it as well.
Awesome.
But I was like, oh, this is really cool, really interesting. I'm totally, like... in for whatever they're going for here, and I was enjoying it. And then by the time we got to like the hour 20-minute mark, I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
How much longer is
well, that's when Act 3 starts.
Exactly.
So I was like, so how much more of this is left? Because she just made the wish, and
it really felt like it ran out of steam really quickly for some reason. And
well, the whole third act of this movie, I feel like could be its own movie. I mean, that's really where it almost could just start. You can start from that, essentially.
And I haven't read the collection of short stories, so I don't know if like this is the movie is based on like a few of them or just the one in particular. I'm not sure about that. I do know that Byatt said that a lot of this, like as far as her feelings that are represented here, was autobiographical and everything. And so the narration at the beginning where it's like, I'm going to tell you a true story, but I'm going to add these fantastical elements so that it'll entertain you and everything. I thought that was interesting. And like you were saying, the whole bit about, this is a woman who is content, but a woman who like studies story her entire life, and then
how content could she be?
And then just like, and then has the chance to kind of like write her own, I guess, and doesn't know what to do with that opportunity. Was a little interesting, but I just overall, I didn't know, like, I feel like there's a ton of ideas going on here, but I don't
Yeah.
know what the main objective of it was. I don't know what the thesis statement for this movie is.
Yeah, you were talking about the visuals as well. Like, it's
Yeah,
really
I just
impressive.
really enjoy, especially the beginning of the movie. I just noticed kind of some of the like the camera angles. Like there was one scene where it had like maybe like the wheels of the plane or something, and then it showed like the wheels of like a cart. Or, I don't know. There was
Yeah.
some
Oh,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
transition like that. I thought was cool.
Well, George Miller clearly has a very strong visual sensibility. Very, very strong eye, I think, when it comes to this stuff. So it definitely I think alone keeps your interest going for a certain extent of time.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the flashbacks to the stories that Idris Elba's character was telling were so like stylized to the point of like almost what is I'm trying to think of his name.
Terry Gilliam?
Terry Gilliam, director of Time Bandits. Jonathan Pryce.
It was kind of.
I was thinking that. I was like, this is like a Terry Gilliam movie, both in how it's like sort of over the top, but also how it's just like tone be damned. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell the story of this movie however I want to tell it, and I don't really care what kind of genre it's in or,
Yeah, because
what.
there were some spots that were like kind of funny, like the whole guy like trapped in that room with the concubines. I was like,
Yeah.
it's like, what is the point of this? And then he's like forced to be king.
Or the whole third act. I was thinking the whole third act, without trying to give too much away, could be like a Richard Curtis like rom-com. Like
that London set.
Yeah, like a woman and her genie in London. Like, this could be a whole like romance movie, but it's kind of
Richard Curtis is actually writing that right now.
Oh, great! I'm glad. We need more of him. So, but
I wouldn't
yeah,
be mad about it. No,
but yeah, it's a little too. I think
Manic Pixie Genie Boy.
I'm kind of torn because I like both admire how he's done it,
know.
but also think it doesn't fully really work.
Yeah, right. Exactly, I'm right there with you. I don't know what to make of it, and like I said, this is like straight out of the theater like reaction, so it's kind of like being blindsided a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Were y'all like trying to guess how it was gonna end? Because I had
Yeah.
like a formulated idea. Okay, maybe it'll end, and I guess we can't talk about spoilers.
no, I mean honestly, talking about spoilers may encourage more people to see it than not. So I mean, spoilers.
There were definitely like parts where I thought it was like, oh, it could end here, and there were a lot of fade outs in
there
the
were
third act
some
of the
fade-
movie to make you think like, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like the Djinn
3 years
can't-
later.
yeah.
Okay.
Like, you
when
can't stay with
why
her.
3 years? Do we have to do that?
I guess
because
3
that's
years
wishes.
is just enough for her
Oh,
to
yeah.
like maybe finish writing the little story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
was
guess.
like, well, the Djinn, like with him like coming to visit her, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like it's like a happy happy
sad.
ending, but
Yeah.
it's like
It was just another thing,
Best
like with
of
the
both.
tone. I was like, "Are they trying to fake us out? Is this the title card at the end here?" And then no, it's just a 3 years later thing. Sorry.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
thought-
you just shouldn't get in relationships with immortals. It just never works.
It never works out,
You know.
Yeah.
I guess I mean I knew the movie was going to be pretty thirsty, and it definitely has moments where it gets pretty thirsty. But it's still surprisingly kind of downbeat, and I don't know if I'd like really suggest people who are just like wanting some thirsty Idris Elba action to go see this.
Yeah. If you're going to this and expecting just a fun Idris Elba, this is not Aladdin,
So I'm not who Mom seems I'm is.
and it's not like it's not a Mad Max-esque movie, action movie, or anything like that. So I know they've plastered that all over the trailers and everything.
the trailers were confusing. I'm like, whoa, there's like so much. It almost felt like everything everywhere all at once. Like
Yeah.
the way the trailer was like, oh my gosh, all these like weird things. And it was like, oh, it's just all flashbacks.
I think
None
they
of
were.
it
I
actually
think they're
happened.
definitely banking on the reputation of George Miller to get people in,
Right.
or get people interested. It worked on me.
I learnt that by making films about dancing penguins and talking pigs.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's necessarily that type of movie.
Do you feel like if first will you ever revisit this, and if you do you think it will grow in how much you appreciate or like it, or do you think it will just kind of be like the shortcomings will be even more glaring?
Maybe
I would say the latter.
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe now that I know how it ends, I might be a little bit more patient with it.
Yeah.
Because definitely when I feel a movie like struggling, especially in the last bit, like the last half hour, it tries my patience a little bit. But now that I know kind of where it lands, maybe it might be a little bit more patient with it.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm like really hopeful that I will watch this again and like it more. I don't know why. I guess because I was really into that. Into it the first,
the
in that exactly. And those first 2 acts, I was like, oh, I really like what we're going for here, and then it just again.
And so, just to clarify, the little story of her like with the boy, was that supposed to be the Djinn? All these years, because she had like her notebook. She was like, this kid that would come for me, and then he was like, here I am. Didn't he say something like that?
He did, yeah.
So I was like, but then they never really like.
I'm gonna be honest, I forgot all about that.
Well, in the book that she burned at the beginning, it was very similar to like, they made it look visually very similar to the book she'd written at the end and everything.
True.
So
it was just confusing because it was like, did you conjure up this Djinn yourself, and then, or was he...
Because again, it's like, is this all just in her mind, or
help us, Dr. George
It doesn't
Miller.
even question it because it's all just from her perspective. So like,
we need to go ask those boys with the soccer ball and see if they really
help us, Dr. George Miller. We have so many questions.
So many questions. My main concern, though, before we get to star ratings, was she opened or was trying to clean that bottle with her electric toothbrush.
Yeah.
And then was using it later.
Did
you think about
that?
Come on.
I didn't think about that.
I didn't think of that.
I did think about when she started to use it, like, I guess you're just not going to use that toothbrush ever again, or
I wrote that in the notes on my phone. I was like, guess she's not using that later. But no, that's fine. No, all jokes aside, so at the end of the reviews, obviously we do an out of 5-star rating. This one feels a little more difficult than usual, but what would your at least initial reaction rating to 3,000 Years of Longing be? Where are you going on the
You're
Letterboxd
trying to make me go
out of
first.
5.
It's hard because it's like visuals. I would rate it like 4. I like the visuals, but like in the beginning half, it's like 3.5. I like, and then like the latter half, like 2.5 maybe. I don't know.
I think I land somewhere around like 3 out of 5.
So I guess I gotta like average all that together. Yeah. So maybe just 3.
Yeah.
A meager 3.
That's how you do it as a teacher. You just have to average it all.
Yeah. I'm a very like forgiving teacher, so maybe my reviews are the same.
I'm right there with you then on that. I'm actually gonna be a little more forgiving, I think, and go ahead and do the 3.5 because I don't know. I really liked it more than I didn't. I appreciated it. Again, I appreciate George Miller like having the have the ability to somehow get somebody to back this in this day and age and to put it out in theaters. So, as confusing and confounding and just kind of like all over the place and just, I don't know, bewildering, experience that it was, I'd still recommend it, I think, to somebody who was like, is it worth seeing on the big screen? Yeah, it kind of is just for the visuals, if nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see a producer who, saw Mad Max Fury Road and said, you can do whatever you want, man.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I guess come to your own conclusion as you watch this. I don't know. Or watch the trailer. Either one's going to kind of leave you also bewildered. But thank you guys for doing this. I really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by, talking about another movie with me. And thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, all the good YouTube things, because we produce a new review of the biggest release every week. So once you hit that notification bell, you'll know when we do that. Thank you to the Movie Tavern for letting us see the movies here, shoot the show in their theaters. But that's it for this week. We'll talk to you guys next time. Peace, peace, peace. Boop, boop.
Come on. I'm gonna wish for 1,000,000 wishes.